Lacey, and today I'm going to talk to you about Saga. So Saga is a graphic novel by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. Brian K. Vaughan, name right here, he did the story, and Fiona did the artwork in here. See, writer K. Vaughan, Fiona Staples, lettering and design, phonographics, and Eric Stephenson, I don't know. Anyway, he is the coordinator for this book. Now, this is only volume 1 of Saga, so it's basically, to me, the first chapter of the whole series that is Saga. To me, this is definitely a graphic novel because comic books typically aren't divided into chapters. This goes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what Saga is. It goes by chapter. And also, to me, the artwork is more realistic than a comic book would be, if that makes sense. Pardon me. The publisher is Image Comics, and the length of this comic is 80 pages, which is not that much. Very, very small graphic. I've seen way bigger graphic novels than this. But it is 80 pages, and now I'm just going to talk about where all of the acts start and end. So Act 1 of Saga, it begins on the first page, right here. We see this beautiful splash page of Alana, and then we see that there's a narrator in this piece. This is how an idea becomes real. And then we find out that she's giving birth, and then from then on we get the conflict of the story, the goal, and the protagonist and the antagonist throughout this first act. We find out that Elena and Marcos has a forbidden love, and we find out that they basically have to, sorry for the nudity, they have to go to safe land, and that's basically their goal throughout the entire book. So that is the first act. The first act is 20 pages, and to me, when this splash page comes up, that's basically when it starts the next act. So yeah, that's Act 1. Act 2 starts here, to me. Act 2 is about 34 pages, and here I think is where all the meat of the story happens, all the conflict. We find out even more about the characters than before. We find a Stalk right here. It's a really good character. We find out that the Stalk and Will are together, and my favorite character, Isabel. So we meet more characters, and we see more tension and more conflicts arise. We know even more about Prince Robot 5. We know more about him, and we find a little girl right here, which is probably the saddest part to me. So yeah, that is Act 2 to me. And then Act 3 is basically everything else. To me, this is where all of the resolutions start happening. And I don't think everything gets resolved necessarily because it's to be continued, so not everything has to be resolved. But we do see that Elena and Marco and Hazel leave the planet to go to Quietus. And then we find out at the end that Prince Robot 5 knows where they're going. So that's pretty cool. But we find out all of this. That's probably going to happen, most likely will happen in the next edition, and it leaves us on a cliffhanger where we want to see more. So that's pretty much the act breakdown. I forgot to say that Act 2, I said Act 2 had 34 pages. What am I talking about? I didn't say Act 3. Act 3 is about 23 pages. I might be off a page, but 23, 24 pages. To me, it fits the mold because it's pretty balanced out. throughout all 3 acts, and most of the meat of the story is in the middle, which it should be. And yeah, I think just it fits the mold, and it has a pretty strong story arc, and it just keeps you going through the intense conflict and obstacles throughout the whole thing, and it has a very clear beginning, middle, and end. So now I'm going to talk about transitions and how the transitions help with the movement and of time and things like that. So here, to me, these next couple of pages I'm about to show you are, to me, keen examples of how great the transitions are. So it just goes from moment to moment. And here, this whole fighting sequence, I hope you guys can see this. Yeah, so this whole fighting sequence, to me, it's a very good use of transitions, because to me, it doesn't really feel like we're missing a beat. And to me, that means that we have really, really good transitions, and even though they're silent panels, they scream very loud. So it doesn't break any of the rules. It's pretty to code, and yeah, they're just really, really good transitions. So in general, my last thoughts on Saga is that I think it's a very, very interesting and cool graphic novel. It keeps the reader interested throughout the beginning, middle, and end, and honestly, like, I want to buy the 2nd volume of Saga right now. And the character arcs are beautiful, and you can grow with the characters throughout the beginning, middle, and end, especially Marco, and how peaceful he is, and how he only uses his weapon when he needs to, and that kind of arc about him, and the Will with the little girl, and just, it's great. Would I recommend it to my classmates? I would, but I believe 95% of them have already read Saga. But if you haven't and you're reading this, I really do recommend it to you, because really, to me, it has everything. It has romance, it has action, it has political undertones, it has drama, it has just everything about it. Family values, it has sex in it, it's curse words in it, which is fantastic. I love anything with curse words. I'm vulgar. But so yeah, I really like it. It's a very fluid piece, and I think it's really easy to read. And I'm not really a graphic novel comic book reader, and it was very easy for me to read. To my friends that are not in Full Sail, again, I would also recommend it to them, because again, it has all the elements that I said, and just because you're not a creative writer, that doesn't mean that you can't read Saga and enjoy it. It's not only a writer would enjoy this comic, or a graphic novel, I should say. Other than that, I really loved the artwork. Fiona Staples is an excellent artist, and I just love all the interesting little characters. These two ladies are probably the most interesting out of the two. I love these ladies. That's pretty interesting. And like, a lot of these characters and the way these characters are drawn are something I've never seen before. So I liked that aspect of it. Other than that, I don't really have anything else to say about it. I'm really glad I got to read Saga, and I hope you guys read it too, and I'm excited to see the feedback I get on this. So I'll talk to you later.